A very warm welcome to this video. Now if you are new to this channel, this is the channel where we dig deeper. And by digging deeper, we give you information that you will not find anywhere else. And quite often, it ends up that what we discuss here ends up being the headlines 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month later. We also analyze without fear or favor. And of course, this analysis is based on research, a tradition of research that I've built as a blogger over the last 13 years. Actually, it's more than that, but that is how long the Kumekucha brand has been around. My sincere apologies for what would look like advertising for this channel, but actually what we're trying to do, or what I'm trying to do, is to bring many people up to speed. Because over the last few weeks, a lot of new subscribers have scrambled onto this channel. A lot of people have taken in this channel for the first time. And some of them seem to think that some idle guy just creeped out of the woodwork. And since they didn't have anything better to do, they started a YouTube channel. And therefore, they have no idea what they're doing. I just want to correct that view amongst a few, not all of us, not the majority, but just amongst the few who are stumbling on this channel for the first time. Anyway, right on to business. Now today we're going to change the format slightly. It's always good to keep people interested, and you bore people normally when you just do same old. So please humor me, okay? And the format is, I will just mention the main headline news today, making brief comments before we go on to the main subject. Actually the two main topics we're going to cover today. And we'll start with the new police makeover. Now this one has really raised my feelings amongst Kenyans. And the feelings are not even based on the major changes launched today by President Uhuru Kenyatta. Instead, they are focused on the new police uniform. Many people don't like it, including me. It doesn't look nice, because if you're trying to do a makeover and get a new image of the police force, it all starts with the uniform. And to tell you the truth, the old uniform looks better. So let's also focus a bit on the changes which people notice, assuming you don't get arrested. And you don't wish for anybody to get arrested. But the main changes that you'll notice immediately is that in the small villages, what was an AP post will now change to a police post. It is one police service. So the idea is that the administration police will vanish. The other thing you need to take careful note of is that don't go into any police station and ask for the OCPD. They'll just look at you like you've landed from Mars, because that post no longer exists. OCPD stands for Officer in Charge of Police Division. That's a guy who's supposed to take care of a number of police stations. Okay, that post no longer exists. And then the other big change is that you're going to get new people moving into your plot, or even the compound where you live, or the apartments. And chances are it could be a cop, a low-ranking cop. Now, this should be good news to law-abiding citizens, because it will mean extra security. Because when a cop is there, the thugs tend to feel nervous about hitting the place. Now, what this means is that those horrible Mabati houses, are gone. Or rather, the next 90 days should be gone forever. You know, this thing was more serious than most Kenyans can imagine. Because a lot of these houses, some of them were just divided by a piece of cloth, a curtain. So two families are living under the same Mabati roof. So if you're a police officer and you want quality time with your wife, and she's the noisy type, your neighbors can't sleep. Good riddance. That thing was just horrible. Police housing. That was a nightmare. That it's good now, it's all over. Of course, I appreciate that some of us may be worried. Some of the people taking this channel may be very worried about this new development. Why? Because if you're in the habit of smoking weed late at night, well, you have a new neighbor. And it will certainly not be business as usual. Anyway, just kidding. Now, very worrying in the news today is tribal clashes. Yes, unfortunately, tribal clashes have broken out in Kenya once again. And this is within the controversial Mau Forest. Yeah, you know, the evictions going on. Yeah. And these latest clashes appear to be related. You know, they've drawn out the borderlines very carefully. Yeah. One side is the people who must move out and have to move out and will be evicted. And then there's just the people on the borderline, the people who are safe. Yeah, the people will remain. So there appears to be some bad blood which has built up. Yeah, and this is mainly between two communities, which have not been named yet. I happen to know which communities these are. And since our media and the government has decided that it's not a good idea to mention these communities, I'll remain mum for now. But it is serious because 4 people have already been killed. But the security people appear to be on top of the situation. Yeah, there's very heavy security presence in the Joro area. And hopefully, this thing will be brought to an end. Yeah, because people are suffering, having their houses burnt, having to take off at night with their children and so on, and all that is left of your belongings. Not a good picture. Okay? Anyway, on to the main news or the main analysis today. Now, we have a very important update on the Sharon Otieno case. Yeah, that should be very interesting. But before that, there is an issue that touches all of us, or rather many, many of us, a vast majority of us. And it involves the men. Now, I don't want you to lose your temper or start getting my feelings, but I just want to ask you a very simple question. Have you paid dowry? Yes. Have you paid for the mother of your children? That woman who's in your house, that long-suffering woman who is in your house, have you paid up? The reason why I'm asking is ni kubaya jo, mambo yameharibika. Kama hujalipa dowry, I'm of course referring to the landmark case or landmark ruling today in a Kitale court, where a man and his son were given 7 days to pay up their dowry or get auctioned. And I'm not kidding you. Now, this story starts in 2013 when a young lass called Branis Naliaka, mwana wefwe, vanished from her home. And her parents looked for her all over the place and just couldn't find her. And they were very worried. But word got to them soon, in the form of rumors, that actually she had become somebody's wife. And the father of this lass, a man called Bernard Simiyu Festo, was not amused. Of course, he had dreams for his daughter. Yeah, he had been paying fees for her, keeping her in school. Now all of a sudden, she has just been snatched from his hands. He was not amused at all. Now, years later, the man who had kidnapped his daughter, or rather, let me just correct that. The man who had taken his daughter for a wife without the knowledge of the parents of the girl, a man called Sifuna Mukabi, turned up with the father, a man called Patrick Bulima. And you know it goes in African custom. They start by saying, ile mbuzi ilikuwa imepotea, tunajua mahali iko. Loosely translated, that kagot of yours which got lost, we know where it is. Now, don't get this African way of doing things wrong. They're not referring to the daughter as a goat. It is just a way of speaking in parables. Because apparently it may be too embarrassing to say that we have kidnapped your girl illegally. Because the truth of the matter, there's no law which allows you to start staying with a woman. Whether it is the national law, the constitution, or even customary law. There's no such customary law that allows that. And that is why in the customary environment, when you have done this illegal thing, you're normally fined. Anyway, what seems to have happened here is that a tug of war developed between the in-laws and the new home of their beloved daughter, which finally culminated in 2016 with Bwana Bulima putting it in writing that he's going to pay up. And that was the biggest blunder. Why? Because that is what has been used by the court to enforce this payment of dowry. You know, a court of law operates on evidence, and this was clear evidence that actually these people owed a debt. They had acknowledged in writing that actually they owe money, and they had acknowledged in writing that they'll pay by a certain date. And they never paid up. And so, Branis Naliaka's dad decided to go to court. Hence this landmark ruling of today, yeah, which is a president. Yeah, it will set a president. So it will give people ideas. They can go to court and say, I've not been paid dowry, yeah, by so and so, and I need it paid. And even if you did not put it in writing, there were witnesses. Yeah, you don't go for such functions alone. And those witnesses will be called and they'll say, yes, so and so said they will pay by this date, and they have not paid. And times are hard in Kenya. And what is involved here is not small money. Yeah, because if I can just tell you what it is, this dowry, 10 heads of cattle, 2 goats, 10,000 in cash, 2 blankets, 1 coat, 1 godfather hat, and gumboots. We have done some rough calculations here, and we're all convinced that it's not less than 200K, 200,000 Kenya shillings, roughly $2,000, and that's not pocket change, yeah? Especially if you have only 7 days to pay up. Now, I need to tell you an interesting story here, yeah, about my political lecturer. I mean, this guy was just, he was just different. He never believed in accepting a single cent as dowry for his daughters. He firmly believed, custom or no custom, his daughters were worth much more than any amount that can be paid to him. Now, of course, I understand dowry is not a payment. Yeah, it's supposed to be kind of like respect. Yeah, thanking the parents for bringing up such a good lass. Yeah, etc., etc. However, my political lecturer would have none of that. Yeah, in fact, I remember very clearly. Yeah, one instance when one of my sisters was getting married, my political lecturer just told them the following: I'm not going to ask you for a single cent. However, look at my daughter. She doesn't have any marks on the face. She doesn't have any scratches or bruises. Yeah. All I want, yeah, is an undertaking from you that will not change. And that family which had come could not stop talking about that incident. They were totally amazed. Now, you'd think that now, on the other hand, he would also insist on not paying dowry for his sons. No way. I remember the kind of pressure he gave me. I think it's even better to owe a bank money and you have absconded and you have not paid. That pressure would be less. I kid you not. Okay? He was very insistent that you follow the exact directions, yeah, of the father of the daughter. In such matters, my political lecturer always used to say, it is the prerogative of the parents of the girl. If they want a whole aircraft in payment, you don't complain. You pay up or you forget about that marriage. This is one of the strange mysteries here, because if you look at the background of my political lecturer, he was not rich. Yeah, he was not born to a rich family. He grew up in abject poverty. Yeah, but how he got this mindset, I have no idea. Anyway, that is the latest on that. And since it's a tradition on this channel to give a heads up, yeah, I thought it would be a good idea to give those of us who have not yet paid up dowry a heads up. Yeah, mukai chonjo. Because people could get ideas, especially during these hard times in the country. Now we'll go for a brief commercial break. When we come back, Sharon Otieno. Don't go away. Now, I have a lot of respect for Miguna Miguna. In my book, he is a truly great son of Kenya. And it is for this reason that I still follow him very closely on Facebook. Most Kenyans have forgotten him. Many Kenyans rather, ignore him nowadays, but not me. However, he made a comment recently on his page on Facebook that just shocked me. He said that the DNA of Sharon Otieno's unborn child is irrelevant. It is completely irrelevant to this case, to the investigation to find out who murdered Sharon Otieno. Now, I find it very difficult, extremely difficult, to agree with Miguna Miguna on this one. And to make matters worse, Miguna Miguna is a very sharp lawyer, is a lawyer of international standards. And to be honest with you, I have no legal training, zero legal training, but still, I don't agree with him. And the main reason why I don't agree with him is the way the fetus was handled. If you'll excuse my expression there, because this is a very sensitive issue. According to the post-mortem, and I believe most of us already know this, the person who ended Sharon Otieno's life, or the people, made sure that they stabbed her in such a way that the fetus would be dead, which is just crazy, because when you kill a person, obviously the child inside their womb, the chances of that fetus surviving are nil. So stabbing the unborn child, is just overkill. And of course, this tells us a lot. And the father of that child is very important evidence in this case. Whichever theory you want to take up, because I've had a theory which is being peddled around, that the people who killed Sharon Otieno were actually framing Okoth Obado. So even assuming, don't lose your temper, just hear me out. Even assuming that this theory is correct, one would still need to establish the DNA of the unborn child, who the real biological father was. Because it could also be evidence, to prove that those who wanted to frame Okoth Obado, that's the reason why they did this. Assuming that very far-fetched theory is correct. Anyway, the latest development is that Governor Okoth Obado has not waited for the DNA results to come out. He has come out and confessed. In a screaming headline in one of our newspapers today, somebody actually went and was able to get hold of parts of the statement that Obado gave to the police. And accordingly, it is said that Okoth Obado confessed, admitted that the child who was inside Sharon Otieno's belly was his. Now, to many Kenyans who have become very sharp investigators and observers and are following this case very closely, that is not news. To further corroborate that sensational headline by the Star, Bwana Okoth Obado's lawyer, Cliff Ombeta, yesterday said that yes, there was a relationship between the governor and the late Sharon Otieno. And it was very clear what kind of relationship he meant. Not mentor and young girl, not father and daughter. It was a sexual relationship. And the lawyer even went further and referred the press to what has been posted on social media, which is very sexual in nature. Indeed, most of it we cannot even post on this channel. So in my book, that is more or less confirmed. The baby Sharon Otieno was carrying belonged to Governor Okoth Obado. Now legally, that seemingly small piece of information is very strong evidence that gives Governor Okoth Obado a motive. Now in a court of law anywhere in the world, if you present a lot of evidence, circumstantial evidence, but you do not have a motive, your case is dead in the water. Motive is extremely important, and I'm aware I'm talking at a time when we have people running around in this crazy world who kill people for fun without a motive. But believe it or not, even in such cases, there's a motive. The motive is that they have a sick mind. They have sick desires, and they're satisfying their sick desires. That's the motive. Always there has to be a motive. Now, what makes things even worse for the governor in connection to this case is that his personal assistant is already in police custody. Yeah, and not only that, we have been told by the court, by a judge in the court, that he's going to be charged with murder. The personal assistant to Governor Okoth Obado is going to be charged with murder. Now, what does a personal assistant do? Does a personal assistant go around with their own agenda, doing their own things? Hell no. A personal assistant takes care of the personal matters of their boss, in this case, Okoth Obado. Now, so far, we have two people who are the last to see Sharon Otieno alive. One of them is the journalist who jumped out of the car. He left her in the car alive. The other one, and of course you know who it is the personal assistant of the governor. And that personal assistant of the governor left the car in which Sharon Otieno was alive moments before the journalist jumped out of the same car, leaving Sharon Otieno alive. Now, even without being a lawyer, that establishes a very strong link between the governor and the murder of this young girl. In other words, already there's a strong link between the governor and the murder of this girl. And it is there staring at us. This is not a matter of speculating. This is not a matter of jumping to conclusion. Those are the facts in the public domain. And they point only in one direction and one direction alone. Now, of course, there are other crimes committed here, and one of the main crimes, as we all know, is blackmail. The governor is being blackmailed. And naturally, there are still people alive who were helping Sharon to blackmail the governor. And of course, that's a criminal offense. However, if one were to follow up on the blackmail before you sort out the murder, it would be a case of going after the guy who stole the chicken in the commotion of a murder that was going on. Why on earth would you want to focus on the chicken thief, instead of dealing with the brutal murder first? Unfortunately, there's only one plausible answer I can think of. Only one answer that would explain why we're witnessing what we're witnessing concerning this case. And that is a cover-up, pure and simple. A cover-up designed to ensure that the real culprit in this murder will go scot-free. Meanwhile, watu wa mkono, the people who actually implemented the murder, very gruesome murder, and people who led the unfortunate girl into the trap that led to her killing, those are the people going to be prosecuted. And indeed, those are the people in police custody. Now, apparently, this cover-up did not start just the other day. It started immediately after the journalist escaped. And I'll tell you how. It is emerging that Michael Oyamo was actually arrested at a police station. What was he doing there? He had gone to report that some people had tried to kidnap him. In other words, what he was trying to do was to distance himself from that car, the car which had taken off with Sharon Otieno the last time she was seen alive, and obviously which had the people who ended her life. So obviously he wanted to change the story so that it could appear that he was in that car together with the journalist against his will. Folks, I'm so sorry that I have to be the bearer of bad news, very bad news. But sadly, it seems to be the truth. All these are telltale signs and clues suggesting that justice will not be done in this case of Sharon Otieno. Now, I'm going to be the happiest person on earth if I'm proved wrong on this one, because it is much more important for the family of Sharon Otieno to get closure, to get justice in full, than it is for me to be right. Oh boy. God help the Sharon Otieno family. This is just too terrible even to think about. Because no matter what you want to say, no matter what holier-than-thou attitude you have, Sharon Otieno's morals are irrelevant in this case. It doesn't matter if she had 20 boyfriends or even 20 million boyfriends. It doesn't matter. All that matters is justice. Please, 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 let's follow the words in our national anthem. Haki iwe ngao na mlinzi. Justice be our shield and defender. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.